Hello. So let's understand cloud computing and let's first understand what is the need for cloud computing. So let's assume that you are a small business owner. You have created a website and some other web apps that now you want to share with everyone. Now there are certain roadblocks that you will face when you try to publish this website. That is, you have very limited people to work with. Your team size is very small and you have limited resources. Now, in traditional way, what you need to do, you need to create a server where you will publish this website and there should be a team of people that will ensure that your server works perfectly, and if there's an issue, the team needs to respond quickly in order to fix those issues, so that your user is not hampered and your site stays up all the time. That is the goal, right? Now that is a lot of things to ask from a small business owner, right? So cloud computing aims to solve this issue. How do we solve this? We'll understand. So basically what cloud computing is uh, instead of having your own server, you contact with another company that rents you their server, and you only pay for the compute time that you use. So you don't have to pay for the whole server, you just need to pay for the portion of the compute that you are using. Okay, it will make a lot more sense once we go forward with this video. So let's compare with on-premise versus cloud computing. On-premise is when like you own the server and you do all the things by yourself. That is on-premise, and cloud computing is what we are discussing about. First problem is scalability. Now, let's say you create a server that has that can serve 10 people at a time. At first, your that works fine, but with time, your consumer, like number of user that your server is serving, that increases from 10 people. Let's say now 100 people are using your website at a time. So you need to put more money into your server and like make it more capable so that it can serve 100 people. Now, let's say after some months, uh, yours not a like a lot of people are no longer using your website. Now your website is only serving 20 people, but you have already bought servers that can handle 100 people. Now there is no easy way for you to scale down. So you understand the problem. So either when your user count is increasing, it is very expensive for you to scale up your server, and when your user count is decreasing, you you cannot scale down the server easily. So you are like spending a lot of money that don't need to be spent. So cloud computing solves this issue by saying that when you need more server, the cloud provider will give you more servers, and when you don't need it, you don't need to pay for the extra server. The cloud provider will take away those server from you and provide it to somewhere else, and you don't need to pay for it. Okay, it's like buying a car instead of uh, buying a car versus renting a car. Like, it's the same analogy. Okay, uh, so server storage cost, yes. So buying a separate server is much more expensive than whatever monthly you pay for these cloud service providers. And data security. So when you are using your own server, then you need to take care of all of the security procedures and everything. But you have limited team size, right? Your team size is small. So sometimes uh, your security uh, is not very good because simply you do not have enough manpower to implement all of these security features. But when you are using a cloud service provider, they have a lot of people and they will make sure that your data is secure. And data loss. So you have a warehouse with server. Now let's say for some reason there's some fire or flood and all of your data is lost. What will you do? You do not have multiple servers. You do not have multiple warehouses. So it's not like the same data is saved in multiple locations. So if one location is lost, then you can recover the data from another location. That is not possible in case of like small businesses. So if you have like one physical location and that location suffers a data loss, then your data is lost forever. There's very less chance that you'll get back your data. But in case of cloud service providers, they have servers all over the world, and if there is some issue and data gets lost from one server, they can get it back from other servers, and you don't need to worry about it. They have very good data recovery support. Okay. Now maintenance. Uh, so if you own your server, then all of the maintenance has to be taken care by you. That is, if drive like like normal maintenance, like let's say there is a hard disks get corrupted all the time, so maybe you need to change hard disks or some other maintenance things that you need to do it yourself, and that will require manpower and um, time that as a small business you may not have. But in case of cloud, you like the cloud provider takes care of all of it, all of this, and you don't need to worry about anything. uh, Everything is taken care of. So let's understand the cloud computing architecture here. So there are multiple users that access the server of your cloud service, uh, the server of your cloud service provider. That is, if you let's say bought servers from AWS, all of your users will uh, connect to those AWS server and get all that data. Okay, there are different types of cloud computing model, depending. So broadly, they can be classified into uh, deployment models, multiple deployment models, or service models. So let's understand about multiple deployment models. So we have first public cloud. So example is, let's say your Google Drive or Gmail or things like that, where everyone has access to this cloud. And obviously they will have separate account and separate credential, but everyone has access to this cloud. You can think of it like a public transport. So yes, everyone has their separate seats and ticket, but they are sharing the same vehicle. That is public cloud. On the other hand, private cloud is like having a car. So this is used for like internal systems in your company. So only the members of your company will have access to this cloud. Um, so this is like having a private car, and you and only your family member have access to this car. And then there is something called hybrid cloud. Hybrid is a like is a, is a junction between private and public. Here we have both uh, like here we have both public part and private part, and they work hand in hand. This is like this is like booking a cab, where at a time you are the only person who is in this car, but you don't own this car. So multiple people that you don't know are sharing this car, but at a time only one person is present. Okay, something similar like that. Okay, now other thing, service model. And service model has IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. Okay, now let's understand. So this is this is difference between how much of the cloud infrastructure, like how much of the server do you want to control, and how much of the server do you want your cloud provider to manage. Okay, so on this side in blue, you have all the things that you are managing, and in this orange color, I'm showing all the things that the cloud provider is managing. So for on-premise, everything is managed by you. Okay, so that is one way. But in IaaS, you see that up to OS layer. So this is like uh, you're accessing a cloud provider, and you are you are creating your own Linux server in this cloud provider and then serving everything. So you have till OS level control. That is like having the operating system. So you can do everything in this operating system. That is IaaS. Here you can see that everything above operating system is controlled by you, is managed by you, and everything below operating system, like hardware, like the actual servers, the actual storage and networking, that is controlled by the cloud provider. Then there is platform as a service. Okay, so this is infrastructure as a service, IaaS. So that, and then there is PaaS, that is platform as a service. So here you only manage the application and the data related to this application. Okay, so that is platform as a service. And then there is okay, and then there is software as a service, where you do not have you don't have to manage everything. This is ideal when you don't want to do any of the infrastructure work, and you are this is example is like Google Cloud or something like that, where you just use this service. You are not concerned about how things are working at the like behind the hood. Okay, so that is software as a service. Okay, these are some popular cloud computing services, out of which AWS is the one mostly used, has the like most public, like most business share. And yeah. Now let's yeah. So this is when you so after you create an account in AWS, this is the home screen or dashboard. What we will do, we will create a Lambda function. Okay. So over here in search, I'll search for Lambda here. So the idea of Lambda is that uh, so let's say let's explain it with a use case. Let's say your company is backing up some data from one location to another location at every morning. So this function of backing up is running every morning, but uh, I- it is not. It is running only once a day. So it does not really make sense cost wise to have a separate server that is running all the time, and it's always trying to listen for this function call. So it does not really make sense to have a server that is running all the time for this particular function because it's only going to run once per day. So for that, this AWS Lambda type function is used. It says that you define a function and you only pay for the time that it takes to complete this particular function. So you don't need to pay for like the whole time the server is running. You only need to pay uh, when your function is executing, if that makes sense. Okay. So you don't need to think about servers. You only pay when your function is executing. So this is a simple like hello world function, and let's run it. And you will see that you will get like hello one, hello from Lambda. And this is a very good representation. So here you see that there are multiple devices that are connected to this Lambda function. And um, if I like click on this multiple time, then you'll see that multiple instance of this is happening. And you are only paying for the time that a particular instance is going on. Okay. So if I have more instance, then you see that the cost is increasing uh, proportional to how many instance I have, like how many function calls I do. Uh, it's proportional to the cost. Okay. Now let's create a function. Okay. Uh, let's use a blueprint and let's do a hello world function, but we will do Python. Okay. Uh, hello function name can be hello and create a new role with basic permission. So in basic permission, we are only like basically what we are doing, we are creating a function and giving it permission to log its output to CloudWatch. Okay. Uh, so this is a basic function. Let's change something. Let's say, so we are giving it like a JSON value of like a file with three values, and it's printing all the three values, and then it's returning the first value. Okay. Let's leave it this like this for now. Let's just create a function, then we can modify it later on. And it will take some time, so I will pause it. Okay. So here we can see we have successfully created a function, and yeah, let's run it and see. First, let's create a test event, and you can see there is value 123, and let's save this. Okay, let's get test one. So we have successfully created our function. Now we are testing it. Okay, so let's test. We are testing test one, and here we can see that status succeeded, and so we gave three values 123, and we have response that is value one. So if you change it, let's say two, and then we test it, test one. Okay, did we not save it? Oh, yeah. We first need to deploy the change, and deployment successful, and then let's test. And here we can see value 2 is coming back. Okay, and we can also raise exceptions. So if something is wrong, then we can like raise exceptions like this. Let's deploy first. This is like saving the changes, and then we test one, and here you see that exception, something went wrong. Okay, that's introduction to Lambda. And let's hope you understand about cloud computing, and let me know if there's an issue. Bye.